Catwoman, issue 29, Ram V writing, Fernando Blanco on the art. Matt, you did catch up, didn't you?
I did.
So you're on board.
And the worst part of this book is having to pick Fernando Blanco or Bruno Redondo at the end of the episode. Because,
so cruel, isn't it?
Oh, man.
I love that Marquez is even in the running, which just tells you how strong the art was this week.
Yeah. Art's all fantastic across the board this week. But as good as Ram V's story has been, and with Alleytown and Selena establishing herself there as, this new anti-hero, the Fernando Blanco art has really, really made a lot of roads for me.
And Belair's colors as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so.
I honestly, the only critique I have of this issue, well, actually, I have one minor critique, is that there's a page, like a little bit into it, that has like 4 editor's notes on one page, which is a bit much.
Yeah.
But my only actual critique is that because we had a 2-month gap from the ongoing storyline, is that rejiggering my brain to sort of like remember the key players as it was going was a little bit of a issue.
Yeah.
But that was,
It was a nice touch early on where one of them did the hand sign that we saw in Future State.
Yeah.
Which I don't remember seeing before Future State, but it was a big moment in that first issue.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just because you didn't notice it, because it wasn't like a thing.
Which is, I was going to say, it might have been there and I didn't notice it. Or it might be just like, oh no, we're kind of just established, because it's not over the top in this issue, it just happens once, and it's assigned to someone. But more just, okay, no, we're going to start establishing this. Characters are going to start using this in the area.
Yeah, so Nahegan is on the phone, but he's assassinated. There's an assassin sent after him. Who obviously we get more context for who this assassin is and who sent them later on. But particularly brutal, just bodies all over the floor.
It reminded me of the Ghost character in Ant-Man and Wasp.
I could see that because of the hoods.
Just the whole vibe and the way that they move, and but no, it's excessively brutal, and you kind of want that in a crime book like this. Just to show you who the really bad guys are, Of
course. But then we go to was it Hadley, the cop that's been sort of a recurring character in the book.
Just Hadley, I think.
Just Hadley. He comes to see Selena. The kid out front gives him some shit as if he's not allowed to go in, but he's like, I'm just messing with you. He goes up and Selena's sunbathing. She's on the pool. She's having a quiet day. Actually, probably one of my favorite things about this actually is because she tells him to get lost, says that we're even. You saved me, I helped you, we're done. But one of the things is that he points out this symbol. He gives her this crime file of the drugs that she sort of like dropped off for him and the cops, and basically this symbol triggers something in her. And there's another scene first, but when she's out in the streets and she's going to the location, which turns out to be Nigma's place, Riddler's place. I kind of love this thing where she kind of like has this internal struggle with herself, where she's like, "Why is this bugging me?" And she's like, "It's him." Like, Batman sort of like, left this one thing. If he's altered her personality in one way, it's this idea that if she sees something that's like a clue that might lead to something that's going on, she has to like check it out.
She can't let it go anymore.
Yeah, there's some sense of nobility that maybe it's something she can solve or something. But I kind of like that impact of like, not that we have to have much of a bad impact on the book because it is Catwoman's book, but I do like that relationship and their continued relationship over like decades of, back and forth has left something on her.
Even if there wasn't a romantic thing between them, the fact that they work together so much, of course, his whole like, I smell a mystery type vibe. And she's gonna bite in on it. And
this is before she knows it's a personal stake because it's Ivy that's involved. She doesn't know that yet.
No, there's just something about it. I do like the symbol itself. It's like kind of like almost like angel wings.
Yeah.
But they make like an M.
Yeah, but they're a little bit more sinister than angel wings. Like there's something off about them.
It's just it's McDonald's new range for this is the biblical McDonald's menu.
Would love to know what will be on that.
Na 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 na. Prophesizing it. All right, so.
Yikes.
Okay, fine. I'll nail it.
You ever get embarrassed for somebody?
Na 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 na. I'm nailing it because Jesus got nailed to the cross. You see, so nailing it is the new McDonald's. I don't know.
Get embarrassed for somebody, Connor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shall I make it a trio?
Second-hand embarrassment is real.
Shall I make it? I'm not embarrassed. I don't give a shit.
Yes,
so,
we know. This is why you keep saying stuff.
I'll keep going. So we got evil scientist shenanigans, and because I actually until we got this teaser of the chamber at the side of the panel, I'd forgotten that the ending of the last issue was Poison Ivy in a tank. I was like, oh yeah,
it's the whole reason I got caught up.
yeah. Well,
Not
whatever.
that you guys tell me, man. It's so good. Fernando Blanco art. And I'm like, Ivy, you say? I'm there.
Yeah. So we find out that they sent this. We're calling her the White Witch. This assassin from the start of the book was sent by them to cover some loose ends. And as we find out later in the book, basically they're using Ivy to make this drug. This drug that's on the streets is being made from Ivy DNA, and that's why they've got her.
It's notable, of course, that we learn that Simon Saint is behind this, who is, of course, behind the Magistrate program.
Yeah, and. Although later in the issue, they're basically going to kill Ivy because they've found a way to reproduce what they're taking from her body, so they don't need her anymore. Like, they've done all the work they need to with her, and that's it. Obviously, there's some serious teasing going on here as to who the White Witch is, because we see her get out of the shower, we see like the bottom half of her face just before she puts on the mask, and they've sent her to kill Nigma, but because he was involved as well. But like, seriously, they're seriously teasing who this could be. So I don't know if we have any guesses yet as to who White Witch is, but I don't know.
No, not off the top of my head.
I don't.
It does mention that her her meta powers. Sorry, Marvel slip. That her meta powers are new. That she's adapting, and it sounds like they're controlling her. Like she's not doing her, which is why I'm kind of.
Did they give her the powers?
Yeah, well, that's what it sounds like. But I'm also kind of expecting it to be kind of a Winter Soldier-esque thing, where she's kind of being controlled, brainwashed, whatever it might be. It sounds like that kind of program.
I feel the reason that they're keeping the identity from us is that she's gonna show up in Selena's life, not as Catwoman.
Oh, okay.
And so that'll be a whole piece of it. And if she is being controlled, if it's like a code word type thing, or she's hooked on whatever, if the powers are from this drug.
I'll be honest, if it wasn't for the fact that her sister was like seen in the run already and she's still with Selena, I would have said it was a sister that they have, engineered and turned into a killer. But it's not. It's definitely not. But
no.
That's what would have made me think if we hadn't already seen her sister still be like in the apartment with Selena in the last couple issues.
So who is that redhead on the roof supposed to be?
I actually wasn't sure. I wasn't sure who that was.
I wasn't sure either. Okay.
Just the friend, I guess.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because when you said the sister, I kind of spaced about the sister.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, no, last time I saw her, she was catatonic still.
Yeah, she's not like, got all her faculties.
I was thinking it was a sister as well, though, because she makes a point of saying, I liked you better when you weren't talking.
Oh, yeah, maybe it is a sister then. That's a good
shit.
point.
It is the sister.
Did I overlook
Because
that?
they make it's when she makes a thing about going, he's cute, about Hadley, and Selena's like, he's a cop.
Shit, it is.
I think he was like, you've done worse. So, I liked you better when you didn't talk. So I think that is supposed to be her.
That's fine.
Okay.
Then.
All right.
That's fine.
So yeah. But yeah. So clearly, I feel like this is going to turn out to be someone. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it feels like they're hiding their face specifically, for a reveal for later. So Catwoman goes to Riddler because she recognizes the symbol, and this is where she's seen it before, because when she was casing the Riddler's place out. Actually, something I like, obviously there's a lot of good art in the book, but one of the more subtle moments I like here is that when she first gets into Riddler's like hiding place, and there's like a photo of Batman, and he's like drawn some Riddler question marks over the eyes. There's just like the faintest like sort of smile from it's just like it's like she's seen just because she's seen Batman.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This the top half of this page that you're on now is my favorite moment of the sequential art in the entire book by a long shot, and a large part of that is down to the lettering as well, because it's not in a traditional order. The way the panels are laid out, if you take the lettering off that, you would probably read the two small ones, the one underneath it, and then the big one on the right. But that's not the order it goes in, because it goes around, you go back through. But because the lettering is over the two panels, it just guides you into that naturally, and you go around in a completely seamless way. You don't even think about it, but just because of that placement, and it's just wonderful.
I'll throw in here also the art as well as the lettering, because I actually do think, because it's the panels you're talking about here, it's like it's Catwoman cutting a hole in the glass, then the arm coming in the second panel, and then that third sort of vertical panel is like her coming through the window, but I think notably the pose itself, like her leg is like, you know, going down along the ways, like the one leg that's coming in is like sort of leading you down that panel, so it kind of, there's a shape to it as well, I think, just in the art.
There is, once you're onto that third panel, it leads you down. The art of that panel leads you down and back across, but I think it's the lettering that makes you go over to that panel in the first place.
Yeah.
Which is why I think, you know, all together, it's not just the art or the lettering. It's a whole wonderful sequential panel.
You go through that almost as nimbly as she does, though, right? The way that you're following it, and then down, and then...
Like, you know, we're breaking down why that this is where here, but you're not thinking about this as you're reading it. You just follow it naturally. You don't even think about the fact that you're reading it out of what would be the traditional order for those panel layout. Which is why I think it's so fantastically done.
Yeah. In fact, the page before that, where Catwoman's like jumping through the sky, and you get all the neon lights of Gotham. We're talking about Nightwing's like jumping through the sky and how it's different from Batman. I want to point out that hers is again different, where her pose in this silhouette jumping through the sky is a lot more sleek. Dare I say, a lot more cat-like, to be, you know, drop the pun, but again, very different.
I love the lettering on this page as well, the way the boxes kind of snake around the page and kind of let you take it all in. It's not static, though. It's not just down in a line. It's spaced out nicely.
No, and it makes you take in the whole page.
Yeah.
Of course, Selina gets there just in time because, you know, White Witch is about to kill Riddler, and she jumps in with, you know, gets the whip in. There's kind of a weird effect. She even questions if she's a hologram at first, because when the whip like attaches to her, she kind of glitches. It's almost as if she's a hologram. So it's clearly like an effect that her suit's like giving off, where it kind of has like a distortion and maybe like a force field defense system or something like that. But we get a whole fight scene with them. It's a 2-page layout where Selina does get cut in the face a couple of times, so it feels a little vicious. Riddler ultimately throws a bookcase on top of her, and Catwoman jumps with him out the window, and then wants to get out the window. That's all looks great, of course, but where he questions that, we can't jump over that sort of ledge, that bridge, because it's like a 60-foot drop, and Catwoman hits him with a riddle. Says, "Hey, Enigma, what comes before a start, and sometimes with a suit?" And I love that he just says the first letter, but you just kind of get it from the context that they're jumping.
And I love that the rest of him saying it is mid-jump on the following page.
Yeah.
But I love that. I think as soon as he says the J, you get what it is. If you didn't get the riddle, and I think most people won't right away just because you're too busy like following the art and reading, you know, where the story's going.
You're kind of like, that's Riddler's job, not mine.
Yeah, to think about it. I think my favorite thing about all this though is how it brings in Father Valley again. Just as they're jumping, you just cut to this panel of him on a rooftop with a sniper rifle, and there's this moment where there's some blood in the water, which is glorious coloring in the art. So it's like, who did he hit? You don't know until the next page who he actually hit. But then there's just this moment where White Witch is in sort of like hologram mode, looks up to the roof, and he's just standing there in silhouette, and he sort of tips the hat to her. And it's this moment of like two different assassins, just kind of like maybe we'll have to cross paths, but not today kind of moment. It's good. It's good. And he's quoting, you know, Bible verses and whatever.
Doing his whole shtick.
Yeah. Well, the end of the issue is Riddler has been hit. He's got blood coming out of him, and like, you know, we have to go. But he mentions that Ivy's the one. Like, he's the one who mentions that Ivy's been used to make the drugs, and so the issue ends. A very satisfying ending because it gives Catwoman that personal connection to what's going on, a personal stake, because she cares about Ivy. But the whole sequence was so exciting, beautifully drawn. All these elements, all these plates that are spinning with Ram V, with this Father Valley, just kind of being this constant presence, where it feels like when we finally start to address him directly, that's going to be kind of the big main event of this first big chunk of the run.
That's why I'm really excited for that annual, see some of his backstory. Because I love in this issue that he's just not there. You're not thinking about him and you don't even see him first. You just see the sniper scope. You just see, you know, oh, someone's got the you know, them in the sights, and it's like, oh, of course he's there.
Yeah. So really well done. Enjoying all this bit. And the funny thing is, at the start of the book, when I was worried about, oh yeah, did I remember these families that are involved with all this plot? Because it was so good, but it's been so long, and it was all these new characters. But because that guy gets killed by the end of that first scene, it's like, oh, it's not actually as important. I remember the gist of what happened anyway, so it's not. I don't have to remember him too specifically, because the plot's moving on to other things anyway. So that was kind of neat in terms of the flow, just the book from issue to issue. And maybe that's an acknowledgement from Ramvi knowing that there's a 2-month gap between two
Very
issues.
possibly, yeah.
That it's like, yeah, hey, no, I'll make this very simple and a sort of a not a start. I don't think you could start reading the book here, but I think for people who maybe have like some foggier memories of what happened before, it's kind of a neat place to. Oh, it's okay. We're kind of a cleaner point here.
Yeah, it's different in just to compare the two Rambi things this week. His story in Justice League for Justice League Dark. I think you probably could just start there. I would advise reading at least the future state stuff, I think, because that's going to be heavily there. But it functions as just, hey, no, you didn't need to read any of the previous stuff he was doing. You can jump in here and it'll work. Whereas this here, yeah, it's a nice little refresher in a lot of ways, but you definitely shouldn't start here.
Yeah. Really good stuff. But the book has been. I think it's impressive that it's really given Catwoman her own world, and I think this is one of these things that when there's new Catwoman runs or books announced in the future, I'm not going to get excited because the entire basis of why I like this book right now is just because of this world that Ramvi's creating around her and how he's treating her characterization. So obviously I'd always hope for a return to something like this, but this feels like it's distinctly his version of Catwoman.
I think every Catwoman book I've ever liked has been playing with the crime drama stuff. Every single one.
Yeah. The whole underworld thing, and she's the fact that she upset the boat so much now that Simon Saint's organization has to start taking them out. And that's why Nahagian has to go. It's a lot of cause and effect type stuff. But yeah, it's stupid good. Like, I can't believe. Like, I didn't want to read Catwoman again, but like,
how can you not now?
Yeah.
This is the first time I've ever wanted to read Catwoman. I've always tried the new ones whenever they've started since New 52, but I've never cared. Because even Joel Jones one, which we were hopeful for, I read a few of those and I was like, yeah, I don't think I can keep up with this. It's just kind of okay.
I really do think it's the Gotham setting here, which, moving her to like LA, whatever that was called, it's just a little bit off. Here, it definitely feels like the down and dirtiness of Gotham. It's almost perfect for that kind of Catwoman story.
The Alleytown kids, the different crime families, all of it's kind of like coming together. But then, but you mix that with just the really good art and everything. It's just everything's just clicking with it.
I did notice there's a different artist in the solicits, so I guess Fernando Blanco just needs a little bit of a break. I'm sure he'll be back.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll see what they do instead. Matt, what are you rating Catwoman 29?
Maybe it was an 8.5.
Connor?
I'm going with a 9.
I'm going to concur with Matt's 8.5. Very, very good stuff. So, there you go. That's the books.